enough talking about staplers. Last time on Dungeon Nytes, the crew realized that they needed to do a bit more before they were ready to face a dragon. So they took a job to go and help some dwarves. Go help some dwarves that may have been in the path of destruction of the dragon. In hopes, one, of rescuing them, two, of seeing if they know of anything to be able to help. I mean, they're dwarves, they've been in this area longer than a lot of people. Maybe they might know of something that could help. But as they found the dwarves at a old dwarven excavation of the god of greed Apathor, the two dwarves pleaded, begged even, bribed ultimately the party to go in and clear out some slimes and see if there was any treasure inside. The party did find a small smackroll of treasure. But right as Ashin left with that in hand, bolting out of the main hall, leaving everyone to die a horrible death in the event of it being booby-trapped, which it was not, he happened upon 8 orcs. And that is where we pick up this week.
I'm gonna take a few steps forward and brandish my hammer that I got from the other orc.
Brugor.
It's a shiny hammer you got there. What's an orc like you gonna win this lot?
So I'm assuming you're here to cause havoc.
Why would you assume that?
I have my reasons.
Listen, it's just that we were passing by. Happened to see an opening, thought we might take some shelter.
Oh, so you're okay with us just leaving you here?
As long as you leave all your possessions on the way, sure. Alright, guys?
I'm rather partial to my possessions.
Lane's kind of puts his hand on Gotiruk's shoulder. Oh, sorry. Ashin.
That's a hard pass for me.
Boys, it doesn't seem like they're willing to help out some orcs in dire need.
Oh, do you need some food? I'll give you some food.
He looks around. All the other orcs are kind of chuckling to themselves. And then one in the back kind of pipes up.
That's enough. I know that hammer. Where'd you get it?
If you know the hammer, I'm assuming you know where I got it from.
Well, I know that that's Brugor's hammer, and I don't know how you have it.
He's letting me borrow it.
Is he dead?
Oh no, he's very much alive.
That's a shame. I was hoping you would have killed him for it.
They did fight.
Did you now?
We had a
You
tussle.
won, did you?
I have a feeling he was holding back on me.
I don't know. You did knock him out.
He hits hard.
Not many a man that can knock out Brugor. Or an orc. Or a half-orc. Listen, the bears, we don't mess with them. They don't mess with us. That hammer really means nothing to me. But if you have it, and you took it from Brugol, must mean you're a dangerous type.
A dangerous group.
Let's test that theory. Boys, let's get him.
And we roll for initiative.
Did you
Terry
want-
rolled a 20.
Yeah. Is he roll a 20?
Did you really?
Not right now. I
Nice.
did before we started.
Oh, I was like, I didn't
Like-
see any dice roll on the screen. Are you kidding me? That
Oh.
would have been awesome.
It was what she rolled to do it to change the color to test. And
I was waiting.
did you want us to use the D&D Beyond thing to auto-assign it to the turn order, or do you just keep track of that yourself now?
No, I'm going to keep track of it myself at this point.
Okay. Just want to
Mine
make
is
sure.
a 17.
All right, hold on. Running
So
counter.
is mine.
Okay.
So we got Ashina to 17.
You guys
got
called it.
Gotiruk at a 17. Leif at a 3. What?
It's 8.
8. Okay.
So I think Asteria and I tie.
Mm-hmm.
Stereo, what do you have?
8.
8.
I'm gonna assume that Ashin would win the dex off between giant half orc and
Gotta roll for it.
You do have to roll for it, but Bamir, what's yours?
You doing a dex off?
24.
24. Wow. Bard
That's
does
what they're
bard
gonna say.
things. All right. Amir, you're up.
Are they all kind of in a group together?
There are kind of here. Let me do this because I did prep for this occasion. We can just use this as a visual reference. How about that?
Pamir's really far back.
Yeah,
Hey, who moved me?
I did.
Oh,
He did.
he's moving us.
I did because I can.
fair.
I'm just moving you guys up so that you're all at least able to see, and I have you on screen. There.
Oh, I still can't see anything. But
I know you can't. Well, you can move yourself. There you go.
where are all the orcs?
Oh, they're there. Trust me.
Oh, they're already dead.
Oh, there they are. Okay. Ha ha ha.
Aha!
Oh, that's
a
unfortunate
lot of orcs.
for them.
And now I'm
Hold
somehow
on.
in front.
Hold on.
That's fine.
Oh, come on.
I'd be in front.
Yeah.
Stretchy orc.
He's a stretchy orc. There you go.
This orc's just a little bit bigger than the rest.
I'm using it to describe the fact that he might be a little different than the other orcs.
Nice. That slow one just only takes up about 5 foot square.
All right.
Or is he a big boy?
All right.
Bamir, as you look out on these orcs, you see that there's a number of them that are kind of flanking left and right behind this larger orc that has stepped forward. This larger orc, he's more of a pale gray compared to the normal green that you had seen of orcs, especially of the Bear Clan. This orc is a head taller than the other orcs around him, rippling with muscles and furs, wielding a very large weapon. As he hefts it over his shoulder, you can see that it's a massive great axe. There are spears also on his back. He looks pretty formidable.
Daddy?
Come here. Amir is
Okay.
going to cast Shatter.
Okay.
He's going to cast it.
You made a fancy circle.
How
Right.
how big is that circle?
It's 10-foot radius.
You should be a bit
Cast it in the
smaller.
middle.
No, that'd be 10
No,
No,
that's a
that's
10-foot
10-foot
radius. Those
radius.
are five
Fi-
5
5
feet
foot-
squares.
Okay.
But he casting on the center point right there.
Okay. Okay, fair enough.
I'm going to cast it at 3rd level.
Who needs to be making some saves?
Everybody but the 2 on the far ends.
Okay.
So 6 of them.
All right. And what's the DC to beat?
The DC to beat is 14 on a Constitution save.
Okay. Let me see. Okay. So how many total?
6.
6. Okay. So 2 did not make the save. The other 4 did.
Well, the other 4 still take half damage.
Okay. What's half damage?
I'm about to roll it.
Show me that beautiful damage.
Let's put it in the dice roller. Just for...
Yes. Put it in the beautiful dice roller.
Oh, that's crappy. So 9 is the full damage, and 4 is the half damage.
Okay.
Those are terrible rolls.
And that was at 3rd level? You don't have a additional modifier to that?
No.
Okay.
Shatter's like poor man's fireball.
It's not a fireball, no.
Like,
It's like half a
know.
fireball.
Yeah, that's what it's a poor man's fireball.
All right.
It's worse than that, actually.
Damage has been accounted for. Anything else you want to do in your turn?
No.
Okay. Gotiruk. No. Well, Ashin, you're next. Still has Gotiruk in my thing, but it's Ashin.
I'm gonna use my bonus action to cast Hunter's Mark on the big guy
Okay.
at 1st level. And I guess I'm gonna start shooting. I'm gonna take my sharpshooter ability,
Finally.
-5 on the roll to add +10 to my damage.
Okay.
Gonna roll. $11 +3, so that's a 14.
That's a miss.
Okay. And then I will fire at him again. Same ability. That's definitely a miss. And then I will fire at him with my 3rd and final shot. Yeah, those are bad rolls. I missed all 3 shots.
Oof.
Ashin, as you break out your bow and you loose 3 arrows, the large orc up front takes his axe and puts it straight in front of his chest and deflects all 3 of those arrows. Kind of scoffs. Ugh. Ears are still ringing a bit. He's like shaking his head. Gotiruk, it's your turn.
Alright. I will step up and attack him with my great axe. Using Great Weapon Master Attack.
Rage.
That's what I was meaning to do. Thank you. I'm going to rage first. Because that's smart.
Party that rages together doesn't kill off their barbarian.
That would be... Let's see. Well, that's 13, so that misses.
It's a miss.
And extra attack, same ability. That is a 21.
That'll hit.
Before... Oof.
That was me that reminded him, Foxy.
It's just 4 damage. I'm
Is
sorry,
your-
8 damage.
What are you hitting with? Because you had your
Great
you had your great hammer out, so you swapped to your axe.
Yeah. Yes.
So you swap to your axe, and you run up on this very imposing looking orc. You take your axe and you go straight into the fur on his chest, and he stands there. And you hear a small tink. You realize that he has chainmail on underneath these furs.
Of course it does.
But you still give him 8 damage. He feels that. Kind of looks at you.
It's my turn now, boy.
Bring it on.
So, this orc is going to raise his axe in the air and shout and beat his chest 3 times. And you can tell that all the other orcs around him just kind of feel a bit more amped than they were before. And he looks at you, Gotiruk, and he goes to make an attack. That is a 19 to hit.
That hits.
He takes his great axe in the air, brings it down right on top of the area between your shoulder and your neck. For a total of 19 slashing damage.
Is that halved since I'm raged?
Yes.
Oof.
No, so that would be 10 damage.
9 damage.
Will we round it up now?
Yeah, you
We
round
round
down on
down?
damage. Yep.
Yeah.
Like
Everything's
you
round
needed.
down.
Unless you're an artificer.
Yeah, so 9 damage. The orc
Trading similar blows.
The orc next to him. To his left is going to run at you, Gotiruk. And is going to make 2 attacks. With his axe. That is a nat 20. He misses you and then comes back with an impressive swing that hits you in the side. For a total of also 9 damage. The next orc that was down below rushes up to you as well and does the same thing. Goes to make 2 attacks at you with its axe. Again, misses with 1 shot and then hits you with another shot for a total of 4 damage. I'm having it for you now. And then what is this? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. This last orc is going to run up to you, Leif, and attempt to make 2 attacks.
Man. Sounds fun.
That is a 17 and an 18.
A 17, 18?
Yep.
Okay. As my reaction, he just casts his shield and just kind of shrugs at the attack.
For 1 attack or for both attacks?
The shield lasts until my turn.
So
You
both.
just-
It adds
So you
it
just
does
throw a
plus 5
shield.
to my AC until my turn. So every attack that's going to attack me. I have a 21 AC now.
You have a 21 AC. Okay, so both of those attacks miss. So they, as he runs up to you with his great axe, right as he's about to hit you, you toss up shield and his axe banks off of it as he goes to swing again. Sees this kind of purpley hue shield that turns invisible after it's disrupted. And Asteria, it's your turn.
I can actually see them. Yay.
I won't count that as movement. You're fine.
Okay. That was a nice spell. She is going to cast Moonbeam at 2nd level.
Ooh, where?
Something. It's a 5-foot circle. So probably on the 2 orcs right in front of Asteria and Leif.
Okay.
Okay.
So they have to make a con save.
Con save. Okay.
Where's my stupid page? There we go. 13.
They both fail.
Okay.
The moonbeam stays there, right?
Yes.
Yes, it
Yep.
stays there and I move it around.
Is that
Must be rough.
concentration, though?
It's a concentration.
Okay.
You want to try it?
It's rough to get moonbeamed in the middle of the day.
Trying to figure out how to roll something. Oh my god. There we go. Okay, 12 damage.
Both of those orcs, as you reach to the sky and call down this brilliant white moonbeam and cast it right in between these two orcs, you see them react viscerally, and their bodies start to get affected by this light. You see the flesh start gurgling, and they're almost melting away as they're being charred by this beam until their screams dissipate and they fall to the ground, dead.
Thanks, Asteria.
No problem. That is her turn.
Leif, it is your turn.
Yee. If you'd like to use 2 sorcery points to quicken a fireball.
Okay.
And I'll if I cast it about right here, that should hit everybody except for Gotiruk, right? Like here.
How big's the fireball?
A 20-foot radius.
Yep.
Okay. Basically just every orc except for Gotiruk. Boo. And they all have to make a dex save. 16.
Okay.
And I'll roll for damage real quick. It's 86. Okay. Advanced dice roller. So that is 33 damage, and half that on failed.
So the big orc was the only one to make that DC. So 15, you said, or was it 16?
33 damage, and then whatever you're doing for half that. So 16 or 17.
Well, we're rounding down.
16. Then everyone else takes full.
So you're saying you drew that in such a way that, say, you said Gotiruk didn't get hurt?
Basically placing it so that way, because this orc right here is slightly lower, just to hit all of them except for Gotiruk, if possible.
I would say that one that's next to Gotiruk is probably going to be safe, just based on the angle that you'd have to arc that at.
Okay.
But other than that, yeah, everyone else. Leif, as you kind of extend your hand, this purple orb materializes of fire. And as you cast it out, it becomes as small as a marble. And as it hits the point where you want it to go, it flashes into this huge 20-foot ball of purple fire, engulfing all the orcs. And they are all dead, except for the big one.
And the one next to Gotiruk.
And the one next to Gotiruk.
Nice. Okay. For my action of my turn, going to use 2 more sorcery points.
Okay.
And that'll be all my sorcery points for today. And I'm going to twin spell Firebolt onto each of the 2 remaining orcs.
Okay.
So we roll to hit for both. That is a nat 20 and an 18.
Those both hit.
Okay. So the big orc is going to be taking, is that 2d10? 2d10. So, or do you want to do 2d10 double or 4d10 for the big orc?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doubles your damage, so just do your 2d10 double it.
Oh, well, I rolled 4.
It's fine. Whatever.
25
Okay.
to big orc. And then the other orc is going to take, that was d20s, I'm sorry. That was 1d20. I can't roll. I'll roll both. There we go. 16 for the smaller one, 25 for the big one.
As you bring up your other hand and launch these fiery missiles from each palm, The one that goes towards the normal-sized orc cuts straight through his core and melts a hole straight through his chest. And you can see through his body as he's and falls over. The main orc kind of catches it with his arms up and gets singed, and you can see the burns appearing on his forearms, but he's still going.
Kind of clicks the staff down. You might want to give up now.
Orcs don't give up.
Really?
You're gonna die.
No.
Amir.
You know the difference between you and Brugor? Brugor knew how to fight.
The orc
Cast
just-
vicious mockery.
The orc just stares back at you, breathing heavy.
He needs to make a wisdom save.
A wisdom save. Not very wise, this one.
Orcs are notoriously good at wisdom.
It's DC 14, so. Wisdom save?
I said he's not very wise, this one.
He failed it.
That was okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He fails.
He takes 4 damage.
Yeah, 4
of-
psychic damage.
4 psychic damage of sick burnitude.
You can see his eye twitch as he drool starts coming off of one of his tusks on his face. Ashin, up to you.
I'm just last chance to give up.
Let me show you what a real orc can do. I'm not done yet.
Oh my god, I rolled a nat 1 on my first shot.
Was that with sharpshooter?
No.
Okay.
Second attack is a 23 to hit,
That'll hit.
and that will be for let's see.
What?
10 plus 4, so 14 damage.
Okay.
And that's my turn.
Okay. Gotiruk, it's up to you.
I'm coming back at him with the great axe.
This is gonna hurt.
That's an 11. No.
Miss.
An extra attack.
You only have a +2 to hit.
Great whip.
Fair off a master.
My feet.
Oh,
He uses it like every attack.
Are you not doing reckless attack? Doesn't that give you advantage?
I have not been because that's
it
dangerous.
gives the enemy advantage
Yeah.
on him too.
He's
That's
he has low
dangerous
health
when
right
it's
now.
8v 8v5. Nah, that's just a 13.
Both those swings miss as you see that arrow sail over your shoulder, stick in his shoulder. You try and follow up with 2 attacks, but he's able to deflect them with his great axe.
And that is my turn.
You all think you're so smug using your magic. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you what this is about.
He is going to run past Gotiruk.
Ooh, attack opportunity time.
Gotiruk, you
Yeah.
have attack of opportunity. He's
You did.
I was muted. Yes, absolutely would like to do that.
Well, where is he running to? Is the question.
He is running straight up to Ashin.
Oh, you don't get one then, because you didn't leave your range.
Oh, yeah, because he stayed
That's
within
right, because he
the-
stayed within your
Yep.
combat range.
Yeah, fair.
1 second.
Oh, well.
Sure. That's okay.
Tried.
Oh, yeah, because technically we're considering bigger than 5
Yeah.
feet. That's why. Okay.
he can't occupy your space though, so he can't do that.
He's not a large creature.
He's actually
No,
5
we just
feet.
made him. Yeah.
So
He's
then
just
he
special.
did exit your melee range.
Mhm.
It's
Nope.
confusing
No.
because it'd be a diagonal.
I did that to convey meaning.
I know.
Here, I'll make it easier for you. There. Does that solve everyone's issues now? Are we good?
There was no issues.
I didn't have any issues.
And Ashin is going to attempt to attack you. Oh, I need to roll the dice roller. What am I doing?
DM roll.
Phew. That's a big oofs. And then a 16.
Bamir's going to interrupt here and say, so if Grigor is the bear, what are you, the mice? And use cutting words on him.
Okay.
So he needs to knock that 16 down. Oh, that's not right. By 4.
So to a 12.
I rolled 2 accidentally.
Oh, bards, I love you.
So you only got a 12.
Oh,
Yeah,
Hey.
you're good.
you missed.
And he did. In his exhaustion, he runs up to you and hears the cutting words of the bard and swings to the left, confused, swings to the right. And both times the axe seems to hit the ground on either side of you, Ashin. Styria, it's your turn.
So because he moved where he did he technically pass through her moonbeam?
I kept no.
He didn't have to.
No, he didn't have to.
You can go around the other side.
Yeah, you can go around the opposite end.
Okay.
Should probably
Just
take
a
all these
question.
Other orcs off.
Sucks to suck.
I moved my moonbeam onto the big orc with that, because the 5-foot radius.
It depends on where you put it.
Could I put it
You
in a
can't.
spot
You can't.
where?
You can't put it on him without hitting one of us.
Yeah, you'd have to hit one of the
Yeah.
party.
Well, she will move it
what you could do. This would hurt a little.
Put it over Leif.
I mean,
You can't have a shield up.
it doesn't matter. That doesn't protect me. This is a save roll. I take damage regardless, and shape change.
Well, if you didn't know before.
Each square on this is 5 feet, right?
Yes.
Oh god, this is pretty.
Yeah, there's nowhere you can put it without
Fuck! Okay.
poking somebody.
I mean, you can. It's fine, Styria.
Just do it.
Gotiruk will take it. He won't
No.
kill him,
Gotiruk can't
hopefully.
take it.
I'm gonna put it right. I can't draw a circle apparently. Right there.
That one's not there.
Yeah, that
Not
one's
there?
dead.
That one's dead.
That one's dead.
Put it on the
Yeah,
big
that
guy.
one's dead.
Put it on the guy in between us.
Fine. Put it on him. How do you erase that?
You click on it and then click delete.
Ah!
Oh god.
That was
Make a
fine.
big one? Yeah. Oh.
Oh god, what did I do? I can't see anything.
Trying to get fancy with the roll 20.
I deleted
Sorry.
my own token.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
Oh, no.
I keep trying to draw shapes.
Well, you're not important in this battle anyway.
Okay, well, this guy has
Yikes.
to make a Constitution save of 13.
Where did I go?
He
Did you move it
does.
onto him?
Is it under? Yeah, is it under one of us?
The heck, roll 20?
Who's it going to be on? Is it going to be on him and Gotiruk, him and Leif, or him and Ashin?
Not Gotiruk.
Sheen?
Oh, fine, sure, yeah, that's fine. I'll make a con save. Yay.
I'm sorry. I love you.
That's what you get for leaving with all the jewels.
What's the DC? 13?
Yeah,
Fine.
I'm pretty sure you can make it.
Nope.
Unless that happens.
Oh, I love it.
Sorry.
Shared a kiss by the moonlight, and now it comes back to strike you.
How much damage?
And the one time. The one time.
When you just want to overkill somebody.
20.
Or
So
half that if they made the save.
half if you make the save?
Yep.
Yeah.
Still good.
Asteria, in your haste to come to Ashin's aid, seeing the large orc run to him, you take your hand and recklessly throw your moonbeam over the orc, catching Ashin also in the beam. While the orc is able to kind of move a bit out of the way, where he's only getting affected by it a short time, you see Ashin takes the full brunt of the beam, his flesh beginning to sizzle in its light.
One second. Cat.
Cat's going for the power switch.
Tried to pull her off, and then she had to like claws in the top of the freaking computer. So he's still alive then, right?
Oh yeah, I made the save. Thanks for that.
Well, he took 10 damage.
Mm-hmm.
I'll heal you
I'm
when
only-
we're done.
I'm only half dead.
A lot of damage.
That is it for Stereo.
You can smell the leather of Ashin's burning armor. Is that your turn, or you got any other moves you
Yeah.
want to make?
That was her turn, she said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Leif, you're up.
Hi, are we in dim or dark light by chance?
Not a chance.
Okay, so it's bright. I wasn't sure because we had like the darkness around us. I wasn't sure if we were in like dim light in like a cavern-ish thing.
That's just a lighting effect.
Just lighting attack? Okay, cool. Sweet. I wasn't sure if we were outside. It's just like, I mean, we can use blades too when he uses his bonus action to flourish a shadow blade at 3rd level.
Okay.
Oh, crap.
And we'll attack. Boop. That is 18.
That'll hit.
Okay, and then he does. That is 16 damage.
Leaf, is this orc dodges out of the way of the moonbeam, and you materialize this ethereal purple blade that looks a lot like your former blade talon. You see an opportunity, and you thrust your blade straight through his armor, through his chest cavity, until you reach the hilt. The orc looks at you. Shit. And then falls away and crumples into a pile of flesh on the ground.
Did my hand touch the moonbeam?
No.
Just kind of glances at it for a second. Okay, well that's done.
Okay, Sirius gonna cast Cure Wounds on Ashin now.
Oh, is the orc dead?
Yeah.
Cool, I'm gonna shoot him in the face with an arrow.
I mean, he's face down in the dirt, so the arrow would go through the back of his head. Sure.
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Roll disadvantage because he's prone. Just kidding.
I'm not gonna miss. It's point blank.
Bamir is going to cast Cure Wounds on Gotiruk.
Gets, what did that say? 18? 16.
Oh, you healed me for 16?
Yes.
Gotiruk, do you recognize what tribe they're from?
I'll look their armor over and see if I can see some kind of emblem.
Gotiruk, you heal 17.
As you're healing, you hear the sounds of the dwarves behind you. Are you lot okay?
Yeah, thanks for the assist.
What you want from us? We gave you the sending stone. How are we supposed to know there's gonna be orcs outside?
Oh, hey, you can give me the other one now.
We're right here, sure.
Thanks. I'm gonna give it to Gotiruk.
Okay. Nice bauble.
Yeah, we can use them to communicate with our minds. Once.
More like a walkie-talkie.
Yeah, sort of.
Leif at this time.
What?
You talk into the stone, and whoever has the other stone can hear what you say.
Oh, that's useful.
I mean, listen. I know we haven't been particularly helpful, and you seem to have done a lot for us by coming here to make sure that we were okay, you know, from not being eaten by a dragon and whatnot, and
And the orcs.
also, you know, killed the jellies for a price and things, and you know, if you hadn't have been here and those orcs came, we most certainly would have been dead. So, I want to help you. We know of a place. It's a ways from here, but it's a city. You ever heard of Nomengard?
I mean, would I have heard of that? I don't think so.
Give me a history check if you want.
Well,
Yeah, Bamir's gonna make a history check.
I'm not good at those.
What is it? Okay.
What history?
I'm really not good at those.
I am.
I don't know nothing.
I should be.
While this is going on, Leif would like to disperse Shadowblade after the minute and loot the bodies. While
Nuke
also
them?
loot.
Oh,
While also also wanting to are any of them still like on fire from the fireball or the firebolt?
yes, their bodies are sitting there on fire. They're wearing furs and things.
Can you like inspect the purple fire?
What do you mean inspect it?
Well, this is the first time he's cast fireball,
I mean, you've cast.
and it worked like on purpose.
Okay.
He's
Sure.
just curious to see
On
if it's like
purpose.
if it's actual fire or if it's something else.
Yeah. I mean, you can go ahead and give me an Arcana check on it.
Okay.
At 25 on history, see if I ever heard of the place before.
That's a 14 on Arcana.
I'm not gonna give you that roll because you're from the Fae
Why?
and you would have never heard of this place before.
She's been traveling with me for 10 years.
Fine.
That was my attempt to help.
I will. Who? What were the rolls from Bamir and from Leif?
Got
14.
all of 8.
Okay. So no, you.
My
you,
history check was a 0. Or sorry, 4.
Yeah,
4.
you both have neither heard of this
No, I didn't.
place.
Fine, I will make a history check. Oh look, that's a 7.
Yes, no one's heard of this place.
Yeah, that's fine.
Are you sure that's a town? Because I've never heard of it.
Well, it's very clear you've never heard of it because it's not a town. It's an actual city. It's a city of gnomes, but they're gnome wizards. They're known for coming up with all kinds of weird machines, mechanisms, items, very sought after in circles. It's been a bit, but we could take you there if you'd like. They might have something that could, I don't know, help fight a dragon.
Far away is this place?
I mean, it's about a day from here. We just got to
Good
follow
have-
the mountains, I think.
Told me there's a whole city that's a day away from here that we've never heard of.
I mean, yeah. If you follow the mountains a bit, northeast.
A whole
it-
city.
Yeah, I mean,
I want to roll insight on whether or not he's being truthful.
Leif believes them.
I mean, what?
And that's a 16.
He's honest to God telling the truth. You should be ashamed of yourself for making that roll.
But I don't trust them.
It's fine. You should still be ashamed. Maybe the reason you haven't heard of it is because the city is built into a mountain. That's why us dwarves know about it. We have dealings with the gnomes, you see, and it's really a system of caverns that they've turned into a city. They call it a city anyway. Certainly not a town, like you would think.
Does it
Not
smell
like
bad?
Phandalin. I mean, it's a bit musty. It's caves. Don't mind plugging your nose every once in a while.
Anybody opposed to checking out a new city?
I mean, it's only a day away. That's not too bad. And that might be helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, it is the spirit. We want to help. I mean, we really do. Allow us to show some appreciation and give you some thanks.
Guess it's possible that these gnomes might have something that can help us.
I mean, you never know. They are quite apt at making things. Heck, we might even be able to stop in at Axholm on the way. What you think?
On what?
Come on, don't tell me you never heard of Axholm.
You're making shit up. No.
History check, please, Mr. Bard.
When you're a lore bard that studied the wrong lore, even though you know Gnomish.
I'm just like, thank you. 23, please.
So you did learn some Gnomish.
So, Mimir, you would know that Axholm is a long since deserted, famous dwarven stronghold, a fortress that was sealed off. And now that he brings it up, it kind of jogs your memory that it could be near this kind of geography, this topography. It's supposed to be somewhere in the Sword Mountains. And realize it is possible that it could actually be on the way to Nomengard. The fortress was rumored to be built into the side of the mountain, vast. Think kind of like
Moria.
Moria, essentially.
Oh, Axholm. I thought you said Assholm.
Why did you think I say Axholm? I said Axholm.
I don't know. I was just thinking about assholes who make
Like
a
the ones we just killed.
That's
Because
it's
of the
an odd thing.
jellies.
It's an odd thing to think of. I mean, look, we're excavators, right? Axholm is, as you know, a legendary dwarven fortress. It was sealed away some time ago because there was rumored to be, some not nice things inside. But, I mean, if a dragon's really been attacking the town, that might be a safer place for people to be than out in the open in Phandalin.
So, are you wanting us to go explore another place?
I'm just saying it's on the way. It's up to you.
Okay. Are you gonna pay us?
Why would I pay you?
How would they pay us, Hashing?
It's literally on the way. Listen, I don't like your attitude.
I'm just messing with you, friend. I'm just messing with you.
He had a rough couple days. Just ignore him.
I mean, fair enough. I'm just trying to be helpful. Axholm would certainly be a good place.
I mean, Axholm really would be a nice place for people to hole up. I mean, it was rumored to be quite the place, vast in its capacity.
You said it's in the Sword Mountains.
And
It
you
is.
said
It's in the Sword
there's
Mountains.
dangerous things in there.
It's supposed to be a bit on this way. I mean, we've been to Nomengard. Axholm was supposed to be probably a half day north of here.
It's been sealed off.
Yeah.
Dangerous things inside.
I mean, last I heard, there was a banshee inside. That's why they sealed it. But
Oh, banshees. We met those.
Oh god.
I mean, that's a rumor. I don't know. It's just sealed off. It was old too, and the dwarves moved out. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just trying to give you information.
Lead the way.
All right. Well, let's get going then. Anybody would like to do anything else?
I'd like to
the
know what
site
I got
before
with
you
the
leave?
bodies.
You want to loot the bodies.
That's what I said.
You find some now charred remains of weapons. They're not necessarily usable. There is a spear that is still usable off of the larger orc. Did you roll to inspect your own fire, by the way?
I did. I gave you. It was 14.
It's a 14. Okay, sorry. There's a lot of questions being
Yeah,
thrown
no,
out there.
it's cool.
Yeah, so there's a spear. Collectively, you found about 15 coppers on the bodies that weren't melted together from the fireball.
Sorry.
Man, these guys were broke.
There's just like a clump of silver all melted together.
Hunk of metal that's not usable.
We'll give it to the smithy for something.
You know, upon closer inspection, these these orcs looked. I mean, despite the big one looking kind of well off, the rest of them, as you take a look at them, were not looking great. They seem to be a bit peckish. if you will, as if they had been traveling for some time.
Makes you wonder why they even picked a fight.
But Leif, as you
Yeah.
were kind of doing this relative looting, you kneel down by one of the bodies and just kind of stare into the flame. And as you do so, you start to wonder what this substance is that you're casting, because no one's ever seen purple fire before. And as you reach out and kind of try and sense any magic at all, you don't. It's just an anomaly. It's purple fire. As you run your hand over the top, nothing abnormal, just like normal flames. You take some dirt from next to the body and you kind of put it over the flame and it goes out.
Interesting.
Well, try not to burn down any buildings, because the flames will be a dead giveaway.
Why would I be burning down buildings?
I
I mean, I don't. If you want, I don't have to cast fire anymore. We could just let Gotiruk get hit in the face more.
I'm just saying they'll know it's you. I'm not saying that you should. I'm just saying that they'll.
Who's they?
I don't know. Never mind. Just we'll move on.
Okay. So to Axholm.
Yeah.
Gotiruk, you okay?
I'll be fine.
Did you recognize what tribe they're from?
Can I look and see if any of their armor that isn't burnt had some kind of icon patch on it?
Sure.
Emblem?
Sure.
What do I roll for that?
Just an investigation check.
So 17.
So, Gotiruk, is you and see the others kind of chatting amongst themselves and having this discussion, you kind of take a moment to walk over to the larger orc, whom you must assume was probably a war chief at this point. And as you look at his armor, you look at his furs, you kind of lift up a shoulder just to see if you can see any kind of sigil. And as you lift up the side of his body, you see kind of cast on his right shoulder is a boar's emblem.
Can I rip it off?
Sure.
I'd like to rip it off and take it with me. Or show it to Leif first. Assuming that means the boar tribe.
I'd like to assume so. I guess bears and boars don't get along.
Makes sense.
I thought he was part of the squirrel tribe.
Maybe that's just a really big mouse.
I mean,
What,
he's already dead. You don't have to keep mocking him. He can't hear you.
Oh.
By the way, nice distraction.
While you collect yourselves and start making your way along the base of the Sword Mountains to where Axholm supposedly lies. Making your way along the base of the Sword Mountains is an interesting scenery. The mountains stretch up far into the clouds, and you can see that they are made of solid stone. No vegetation, nothing, just stone. Makes you wonder if that was part of why they were named the Sword Mountains, because the surface is just hard and cold, like a sword. Looking out away from the mountains, you see rolling hills filled with grasses, occasional wildlife. You talk a bit about Axholm and what to look for as you begin to approach.
Yeah, I mean, Axholm's supposed to have these big gates, and they got 2 axes crossing in front of them. It's kind of hard to spot, but you think it would be hard to miss.
I mean, that's kind of the impression that I get. I mean, all the stories say, look, it's sealed off, it's got 2 big axes, and there was some kind of, muck that they put between the doors to keep it closed whenever they sealed it up. I mean, we've been traveling for a few hours now. We should be in the general vicinity. Do you guys see anything?
Bamir will look around.
Yeah, can life make a perception?
Also look around.
Why not?
Stop. No, nice earlier.
Ashin's gonna look at Hysteria and say, "Hey, your moonbeam hurts." It was awesome though, but it still hurt.
It was a 9.
Sorry, I had no
Is it
other
12?
choice.
No, you're completely fine. I understand. It was just unexpected. Ow.
Life calls back. Thanks for not hitting me with it.
Thank you for healing me.
Bamir got a 21 on his perception check.
Okay. Anyone
Not
else?
much coming. I got a 9.
I mean,
I got a
my
12.
my passive perception is 15.
Okay.
Sure.
Light begins to dim. And as you look up, you see the moon in the sky. Under this twilight, bolstered by your dark vision, you see the moon kiss this substance, Bamir, on the side of the mountain. For a moment, you almost miss it as you're walking by. Almost completely blended in to the rock face. But as the moon continues to pour light over this side of the mountain, you stop and you kind of look over, and you can make out in the rock 2 huge seams that come together at a point about 20 feet up. And you see that it's kind of the outline of an old dwarven door. As you look further, it feels like there must have been some kind of a rock slide at one point that had kind of covered the door and re-hardened itself over the top. But as you continue to look further at these seams, you see towards the top you can make out what appears to be the head of an axe in the rock.
No, that's nothing. I keep walking. No, just hey guys. I think there might be a door here.
Just random door or to Axel?
Well, I mean, they're big giant doors that are hard to see in a wall of rock, and it kind of looks like an axe head up here. If you look, and kind of squint at it.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think that might be it.
Okay, but how do we get in?
That's a good question.
Melon?
Do we knock?
Better
Bellon. That doesn't work. Your 2
Sorry,
dwarven companions
I couldn't
come
work.
up.
I couldn't resist it.
No, it's fine. Your 2 dwarven companions kind of walk up beside you and they start examining. Hey, Norbus, I think he's right. Look.
Of course
That
I'm
definitely
right.
is an axe up there. What must have happened here? Well, I mean, it could have been a, some sort of slide or something. Come bury the door, but I mean, it looks like there's seams here.
And he kind of takes out a pick and just kind of picks really hard into what would be the right side of this rock face. And as he does, you can see the rock around the tip of the pickaxe just kind of punches in about 2 inches. And a circle of about 3 inches just begins to crumble and kind of fall away, revealing what appears to be kind of like a bronze underneath. And you hear a soft thud when he does so.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. This definitely looks like a door. There's a door here. Look at this. Guys, look, we found a door.
I found the door.
You're right, he found the door. But it
course
is
I'm
actually
right.
a door.
You guys must not know who Bamir is.
I mean, he's one of the fist. And he likes to make jokes.
I don't know. His face doesn't look like he's joking.
What?
Can you
What
tell?
does that even mean?
Can you really tell, though?
This is what happens when Rangers play a bard game.
Listen, I mean, look. This is the door. I think it might be a good idea for us to bed down outside and not open this up yet. We can get some rest, we can get some food, and then in the morning maybe we try and go inside. I mean, it's up to you. But we did find Axholm. The Axholm.
Yeah, think about a way to get
Don't know
through
yet.
this. I mean,
But
the
yeah, it's a-
signs are there, but
True.
we won't know until we go inside, for sure.
If you guys would like, Asteria and I can take turns taking watch tonight.
That's fine with me.
Sure. Just each of you take one?
Yep.
Okay. I'll stay up with you for a little bit, but I'll probably go to bed soon after.
Yeah, I'll take first watch. If that's all right with you, Asteria.
That's fine.
Alrighty then.
Dazelin and Norbus kind of go about collecting some wood from the surrounding areas and kind of build up a fire and break out their bedrolls, and then kind of go back to the door and seem to be examining it and touching it very intently, taking their pickaxes and chipping away at some of the other pieces, kind of finding the center seam of the door, knocking on it just to feel its material. And they both come back. Norbus, should I tell him the story? I mean, we're here. It's kind of intriguing, really. Again, no one knows if this is true or not, but there are stories. I already told you there was, supposedly a banshee. But have you heard of Mr. Bard, of how the banshee came to be?
Yeah, but I'm kind of tired, so why don't you tell it?
Yeah. Go ahead, Daisley, you tell it.
Well,
He will play a lute along with the story, though.
a long time ago, in the dwarven fortress of Axholm,
there was a tension between the elves and the dwarves. There was an ambassador, Vildara, who was sent to parley with the dwarves. When she came, the meeting didn't go so well. Apparently she had words with the king at the time and attempted to cut him down. The dwarves were able to detain her and they imprisoned her for quite some time. The dwarves sent a message to her people letting them know that we had captured her, as she was a fairly high-ranking member in her people. And again, not wanting to start too big a war with the elves, we're trying to settle this in a somewhat peaceful way. As the envoy left to go and talk with the elves, Vildara, being a sly and talented elf, was able to break free of her cell. She slew 2 guards, found her gear, made her way back, and attempted once more to finish the job. But as she was making her way towards the king's chambers, she was happened upon by his private guard, and they slew her. It's rumored that with her unfinished business of slaying the king, not long after she was buried, you could hear a siren wail within the halls. And she rose as a banshee, wailing and screaming, destroying many rooms in the fortress, slaying dwarves by the score and raising them as undead to do her bidding. It was at that time the king realized that there was no saving Axholm, grabbed the remaining dwarves that he could, and sealed Axholm forever, leaving Vildara to wail into blackness for eternity. But who knows, right? It could all be about a trait. It's just a story my mum told me when I was a boy.
Maybe we shouldn't go in.
Leif was super enthralled until that moment. He was like hands up, intently listening, then kind of just his shoulders just sag a bit.
I mean, Daislin, you had to go and ruin it. Look, you had him eaten out of your hands. Look, that's a story many dwarves are brought up with. They sealed Axholm. There was a conflict between elves and dwarves. It's just as possible that the elves came in and posed too much of a threat and the dwarves moved on to one of their other strongholds along the Sword Mountains.
Oh, I'm sure that's what happened.
Look, I know that banshees exist, but I know they ain't too common. And that's a bit of a tall tale. I mean, can you imagine?
I mean, we've already met a banshee.
You are?
Yeah, she's kind of nice. kind of not at the same time.
You met a banshee and you lived.
You
She let
got
us live.
thrown out of a room.
I deserve that.
You did,
You asked
because
2 questions.
We
So did you.
didn't die.
So did you. We both asked questions and shouldn't have.
I mean,
Throw me out of
You
You're not wrong.
asked a banshee questions.
Yeah,
sure.
She
She
kind of.
offered us some questions, and then these 2 decided to ask more than we were allowed to.
Look,
Yeah, she kind of looked like this, and he shape changes to look like Agatha.
yeah, that's her.
The pretty, the pretty form.
As you do that, both dwarves look at each other, look into their mead cups. Daislin, I'm seeing a woman. Are you seeing a woman? No, but
You should.
I'm seeing a woman
like
too.
her now too.
I'm. What? Huh?
She looked like this. sounds like this. Except when she's angry, then it got very ghastly.
You see them both take their goblets and throw what's left of their mead over their shoulders and kind of roll over to their bedrolls.
Leif
Wait.
changes back to his human appearance.
They're like, "Good night. Good night. We're done. We're done for the day." They obviously cannot handle what they just saw.
I think I unnerved them a little bit.
Good night. We'll see you in the morning.
Rest well, gentlemen.
You see them pull the packs up above their eyes.
And I'm going to move kind of a little ways kind of up the mountain, so I'm overlooking the camp, and I'm going to sit in the dark, obscured in darkness and invisible from view.
Leif was gonna follow him. but-
Illuminated by the moonlight as it touches the soft features of your face.
I will pull my cloak and hood up over my face.
Did you allow Leif to follow you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I'm not gonna find you otherwise.
Next to you, Ashin, sits Leif, a beautiful, ethereal banshee, drawing
changed
all
back.
the attention of the world.
I already changed back. Said that.
Mm.
What's up, Leif?
Well, currently, I look like I'm crazy because I'm talking to myself. But besides that,
You're not talking to yourself. I'm right here.
well, anyone
Oh,
else?
wait. Yeah. Nobody can see me.
It's a cool trick. I honestly have no idea where you are if it wasn't for your voice.
I'm sitting right next, and I'm gonna like touch his shoulder with one finger. I'm right here.
That's still cool. I just do that with magic. But I had a question for you. So we were talking about Gotiruk's sword.
Mhm.
Well, I had a little bit more of a gift, something I've been working on.
Okay.
So Gotiruk one time mentioned he kind of feels a little left out that I can change, Hysteria can wild shape. So I think I finally got a hold of a new spell.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna peel the hood off my cloak, and I'm gonna turn it and look at him. And while we're
Like a
talking,
disembodied face.
no, I'm gonna cast disguise self to look like Leif.
Yes, but not that kind of spell.
Oh,
A little bit more tangible. So, polymorph.
oh,
And I think Gotiruk would really like. I've read about them. There's these like really powerful beasts, like these like giant apes, and he could just start punching everything.
I mean that would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that you could like turn me into like a bird?
I mean, I can turn you into anything that's considered kind of like bestial. Yeah. If you want
That's-
to be like a hawk and fly around, yeah.
That's neat.
I mean, maybe once a day. It's pretty taxing, but I mean, keep it up for a good maybe like hour or so. I think. I haven't tried it yet, but I think I've got it narrowed down.
We should like ask him when his celebration of life is, when his day of birthing is.
Does he know? I mean, his
I
path
don't
is a
know.
little muddled.
We've never really talked about it.
Well, how about when, if he doesn't know, when we give him the sword, that will be his date of birth, at least for the party,
I mean that works for me.
if he's okay with that. We'll
Sure.
ask.
Yeah, it's actually it's a pretty awesome idea.
Life shape changes to look like Ashin.
Hey,
I can do it too.
I have an idea.
Why am I concerned?
I like practical jokes a little bit.
Okay.
We could maybe have some fun.
I think Asteria would get mad at us.
Maybe. She probably just hit me in the head or something. I don't know.
Well, but she'd hit me in the head, because I'm you.
That works for me. No, what if like you and I both like made ourselves look like Gotiruk
So,
or Bamir?
I mean, yeah, I could probably do that. But why?
Make Gotiruk pick who the real Bamir is?
So we're just going to play a joke on Gotiruk and make him figure out who the real Bamir is.
Maybe.
I mean, it seems harmless enough.
Or we could do 3 Gotiruks and see if Bamir could pick the real Gotiruk.
I kind of like... I mean, either one could work.
I feel like Asteria would probably figure me out really fast.
Probably.
So I don't know if it'd work on her.
That's okay. Bamir Gotiruk is picking.
Can you adjust your height?
I'm a shape changer as long as it's... I mean, he's a half-orc. He's still relatively a humanoid around decent
So,
size.
Could you
I just can't have, like, wings or tentacles or things like that going about.
So you could do Droop.
He's a little too small for that.
Is he?
He's only like 3 or so feet. I mean, it has to be around my size still. Like, you know,
Oh,
other
okay,
like
okay.
dragonborns, half-orcs,
A,
elves.
a tall Droop?
That's a little. I basically I have to. It has to be something that kind of already exists.
Hmm.
I mean, I could look like a hobgoblin.
You could do Bugbear.
Could be a bugbear.
That looks like Droop.
No,
They're
I have.
sort of goblin.
I have to have basically seen it.
Oh,
Like I can't just be like, I am now this random half-orc. I have like I can turn into Gotiruk because I know who he looks like. That's why sometimes I awkwardly stare at people's faces for maybe a little too long, makes people uncomfortable. Kind of just memorizing their features.
so that's what that's for. Okay.
Yeah, I can turn to quite a few people at this point. Geez, Agatha, all of you. There's that red brand bugbear.
Hey, could you turn Gotiruk into an owl bear?
I don't believe owlbears are bestial.
You might be right. Turn him into a bear, though.
I could turn him into a bear, but it has to be willing. I mean, if it's not willing, he might not be ready for it.
Two bears in the party? That'd be pretty cool.
I guess, yeah, 2 bears. One can turn into a bear. One is, like I said, if they're not willing, it feels a little forced. It might not work on them. It could.
It's fine. Turn me into a bear. I'm down.
Right now?
Uh,
Why am I turning you into a bear?
not right now.
Why will I be turning you into a bear?
Although right now would be fun. I could just sit here and roar and wake everybody up.
I'm not
Kind of
turning you,
funny
not turning you into a bear. Why am I turning you into a bear later?
for fun. Maybe I can chase Gotiruk around as a bear,
He might kill you.
or he and I could do fisticuffs. Me as a bear and him as him.
We'll hold a tab on that because it is a very powerful spell, and we're about to maybe possibly see a banshee, and I don't think she wants to have tea.
Yeah.
So we'll save that. But the shape changing, the practical joke, that one. Which one do you want to do?
I don't know. Let me think on it.
Okay.
I'll let-
Well, you only sleep like 4 hours, or you meditate. Just wake me up a little bit early, and we'll get that orchestrated before Bamir and Gotiruk wake up.
Oh, I don't want to do it today.
Oh, okay. I thought you want to do this like now.
No. I'm thinking
Okay.
like once we get back to Phandalin,
Oh, yeah, sure. That probably is in a safer environment too. Good
we
thought.
could just like walk around town as Gotiruk and be in 3 different places at one time and cause all sorts of havoc.
Yeah, actually, Gotiruk would be a better option. I think if we were Bamir, we might end up in some homes we don't want to end up in, and we would have to get out of that.
I want to go talk to Sister Garela as Bamir.
Looks a little intrigued about this. That feels wrong, but also curious what they talk about.
I just want to flirt with her, just to see what happens.
Oh, no, I wasn't going to flirt. No, I would like just to kind of know what they talk about, but Bamir hasn't really shared any of that. He's a little vague sometimes. But that seems like a little invasive of privacy. Maybe we should just not.
You're okay.
I mean, they are our friends. I mean, we should probably still respect that a little bit. The practical joke thing seems fine.
Okay.
That's not hurting anybody. But I will let you get back to watch.
All right. Well, enjoy your rest.
Shape changes back to his human appearance and goes down to rejoin the group and take a nap.
I drop my disguised self and recede back into my cloak and keep a watchful eye over the evening.
As you all bed down for the evening, Ashina, I want you to give me a perception check.
Seven. The dice roller doesn't like me today, by the way.
So glad we let you keep watch by yourself.
The air is cool and crisp. In the distance, you feel you almost hear the sounds of howling, but it could just be the wind. You're intently listening for the drum of the wings of the dragon, but hear nothing. Then come time for Asteria's watch.
I will kind of walk down from my little perch and walk up to Asteria, and I'll just take my hand and touch her face gently and say, "It's time for your shift of watch."
I think she's muted.
I think she is muted.
I'm not muted.
Or accidentally cast silence. My bad.
I'm not muted. I
We
don't
couldn't
know.
hear you, so
No,
We can hear you now.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
We'll just say okay.
I will sneak in a kiss on the cheek.
whoa, fast mover.
Gonna shake her head at you.
What?
Go to sleep. Trance. Whatever.
Hello, you're the elf. Go to your sleep, trance, whatever.
Okay. And I will begin my meditation and am meditating on the day and the last few days.
You want to tell us about... In fact, all of you, as we get to you, we're going to get to something special because we leveled up to level 7 during this long rest. Make sure you all click your long rest buttons to reset your pages.
Already did.
Asheen, tell us about your level 7.
I get a new feature.
Feature or
And it is called. No, it's a feature.
Nice.
It's called Iron Mind, and it says you gain proficiency in Wisdom saving throws, and I get another second level spell slot.
Oh, Sheen finally gets wise.
Cat.
Asteria, as you go in to take your watch, tell us about your level 7.
I learned a new spell. That's pretty much it.
What
Got
spell?
some more hit points.
Is it just a new spell slot or is it a spell?
A new spell.
Mm.
And the new spell is called. Gotta look at it on my sheet. Guardian of Nature.
Ooh. What does that
That's
do?
what she has chosen. You can choose between 2 forms. Nature Spirit answers your call and transforms you into a powerful guardian. You can choose either from a primal beast or a great tree. Primal beast. Bestial fur covers your body, your facial features become feral, and you gain the following benefits. Walking speed increases by 10, dark vision within 120 feet.
Nice.
You make strength-based attack rolls with advantage, and melee weapon attacks deal an extra 1d6 force damage.
Dang.
Great tree. Your skin appears barky, leaves sprout from your hair, and you gain the following benefits. You gain 10 temporary hit points. You make constitution saving throws with advantage. You make dexterity and wisdom-based attack rolls with advantage.
Nice.
And while I am on the ground within 15 feet of me is difficult terrain for my enemies.
Damn. Let's go. Tree mode. So we got Murder Bear, furry primal creature, and now tree.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately takes me into the Don Cheadle Captain America. Tree. Anyway. Give me a perception check.
No memento. It's a 15.
You are hyper aware of everything around you. You listen for the dragon, but you hear nothing. Just the sound of occasional wind. The night is quiet, and your watch ends without incident.
Okay. Then my watch ends. I'll get up and start waking up everyone.
Who are you gonna wake up first?
Probably Yashin.
Okay. Who
I'm
after
gonna wake
that?
up. I'm gonna wake up Leif.
Good morning.
Leif, as you wake up, tell us about your level 7.
I got 1 whole sorcery point and some more experience. The main thing I got, though, is I got a 4th level spell.
Nice.
And that is the spell Polymorph. So Gotiruk can fulfill his dream of being something else. Temporarily.
Nice.
And Leif has many of plans. Polymorph, by the way, can only turn a willing creature into a beast or a non-willing creature on a wisdom save into a beast of your choice. Basically, my CR 7 or lower, because I'm level 7.
Okay. Nice.
So, yeah.
Who's next?
Leif would like to prod Bamir's cheek with the Staff of Defense.
You just poke his cheek.
Who does
Hey.
that?
Not in the face.
I feel like you've had to say that before, Bamir.
I love it. I love it. Bamir, as you rouse yourself after getting poked in the face, tell us about your level 7.
Bamir also gained the ability to cast 4th level spells.
Ooh.
And he did gain a 4th level spell as well.
Nice.
And I believe I would like to hide for the night, for the time being.
Oh. It's gonna hide. It's working on secret things.
Either not prepared or he's jokingly saying greater invisibility was a spell option.
Who's gonna poke Gotiruk?
Leif will poke Gotiruk in the face too. But once again, the glass staff.
Grab the staff before he pulls it back.
Nice.
Just to see what it is as I wake.
And probably if he can eat it.
Probably.
Glass will probably break your tusks.
And for my level, I gained the feature Feral Instinct. My instincts are so honed in that I have advantage on initiative rolls. And if we are surprised and I'm not incapacitated, I can still move normally. But only if I rage before I move.
Only if you rage before what?
Before I do anything. I have to rage first.
When he's surprised, if he gets surprised, he can rage instead of just being like to reduce damage and come into him.
Got you. That makes more sense.
Yep.
All right. The gang's up now, and as you all are kind of roused, you start to hear the sound of picking.
Leif is trying to pull the glass staff away from Gotiruk, but can't.
He realizes what it is and lets it go.
Thank you.
You start to hear the sound of picking.
I forgot to say that I also with my additional spell slot I got to learn another spell.
Oh, nice.
Forgot about that.
You want to share, or are you going to be like Bamir, all secretive?
I may or may not have taken the ability to remove blind, deafened, paralyzed, or poison conditions from other people.
That's awesome. That's huge. That is huge. Well, while you're contemplating that, your dwarven companions are kind of hard at work over at the door already. Oh, good morning. We're just trying to figure out this door. At first, we thought it was a door, and on further inspection, I think it's actually potentially just part of the seal.
Yeah, we thought initially that there was brass under here, but really it's just a hard rock. And as we continue to pick away, we see that there's kind of a way through about a foot into it. If someone could maybe, hit it with a kaboom or something, perhaps we could see what's on the other side.
How big's the hole?
He was able to just kind of pick through at this point about a 6-inch hole about a foot through.
Bamir picks up his lute and starts strumming a little bit and says, "You might want to
I'm back.
step back a little bit."
Go on, step back.
Leif stands back a bit.
I'm just gonna grab the nearest dwarf and pull him away from the door.
Hup! What you doing? What you doing? Oh, you want
Get
me
away
to
from
back
the
up?
door!
Oh, you want me to back up?
You back up, Dixlin, back up.
Everybody backs up.
Mir is going to strum on his lute and form a tiny ball of pure sound and flick it at the door.
Do you want to try and go through the hole, or do you want to just hit it from the front?
I'll go inside the hole and shatter right as it starts to go through.
Amir, as you see this ball of sound pass right through, you strum again, and it expands in a huge... You just be heard, and it's almost like a bass tone, almost inaudible. But you just see entire layers of stone explode out towards you for about the bottom 5 feet of this area of stone. And then everything above that just begins to crack and crumble and falls straight down. And this 20-foot high looking seal of stone opens up to reveal a good 30 feet in or so an old rusty portcullis, smooth walls going into it. You can see on either side there's arrow slits, and beyond the portcullis you can see what looks to be another set of double doors, this time cast in probably a really heavy stone.
That worked.
Well, feck me, that worked really well, didn't it? We need to take you with us
So-
more often. That's easier than dynamite.
I mean, if it was easier than dynamite, everybody would do it.
He's just going to give you a blank stare, like, seriously.
Duh. Like,
Don't get him on the
we
topic
know.
of dynamite. I think he's a little sensitive about exploding arrows.
Look, hey. One day.
God, no. That's the worst idea.
Would you even? It seems like it'd be pretty unwieldy.
Maybe.
I mean, so you opened it up. Does that mean we want to go inside?
I assume we do. I just is it trap? You're dwarves. Is it trapped? Should there be traps?
I mean, it's a fortress, so from my perspective, probably not. Dwarves don't really make traps on the outside of the fortress. They make them inside the fortress, and that's only if they're trying to guard something that's really expensive. In this case, it was a fortress, so everything's expensive, so there's probably, I don't know, just really good defenses.
Hey, you lead the way then. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
I mean,
We'll go.
I'll go in. I'm curious.
Agreed. Like,
I don't
kinda-
see anything bad around. I mean, this place has been sealed off for who knows how long. I mean, I'm just gonna walk on up.
Leif goes with him to the portcullis.
You see Daislin kind of walk up with you, Leif, to this portcullis and kind of start to really kind of evaluate. The gaps between the portcullis are obviously too small for any person to be able to crawl through, and you can see just copious amounts of rust has overtaken this entire structure.
Should we cut our way through? Can we cut our way through?
I mean, we could maybe treat it like how I did with firebolt on the ice, or we could look to weaken it with. I could freeze it. Not sure
What
how much
happens
that
when
would
you introduce extreme cold to hot metal?
help. I've never tried.
It shatters.
No, that's what Bamir just did.
Yeah, I know, but when you introduce extreme cold to hot metal, the metal breaks.
Oh, yeah, we can do that.
So, Bamir could heat the metal,
Mhm.
and you could freeze it?
Sure. Bamir?
It seems like a A lot of effort.
I mean, I could just do firebolt for a while, and then if you don't want to heat metal.
I mean, how sturdy is it? It's really rusty, right? So, how sturdy is it? Gotiruk, you should hit it with your hammer.
I take my hammer and I whack it.
Side steps. Other way.
I'm gonna back up.
Yeah. I just
Before
come
you're able to
in-
back up,
Nope.
Gotiruk smacks this portcullis. And Gotiruk, you just absolutely lay into this thing. And your hammer, as it reaches the metal, makes a resounding just ding. And Gotiruk, I need you to give me a strength save, because the vibrations in your hammer start to reverberate so much that it hurts your hands.
That ought to be easy for you. 19 strength.
It's a 12.
Oof.
Yeah, that hammer is ringing in your hands so much so that even with your gloves of overstrength, you can feel it, and your grip becomes weak, and the hammer falls from your hands, and you're kind of rattled for a second.
You all right, bud?
Bamir looks over at the two dwarves, and
I wouldn't do
then
that again.
all three of them burst out into laughter. It's a dwarven portcullis. What do you think was gonna happen?
Look, you're not getting
Oh,
through
funny.
there. You can hit that with magic. You can hit that with a hammer. You can hit that with a Tarask, and it ain't coming down.
What's a Tarask?
You really think that a Tarask could get through that door?
Not a chance. That's a dwarven portcullis.
Back to what's a Tarask?
You don't want to know.
You really never heard of a Tarask?
It's a world-devouring beast.
You don't.
Oh,
want
it sounded like a kind of
to
pasta
know.
dish.
No. I'm surprised you've never heard of... Oh, wait.
Anyway, do you think if you were inside there, you'd be able to get it open?
I mean, yeah, there's mechanisms in there for sure that raise and lower the portcullis. We just gotta find where they are.
Hysteria,
Hmm?
can you put me inside?
How would I put you inside?
Magic?
You're poof. On the other
I
side of the
couldn't.
portcullis?
No,
You can see it.
I can't.
You can put me there.
No, I can't see on the other side of it.
Yeah, you can. It's a portcullis. It's got holes in it. It's a gate. Large iron gate. You can see through it.
Leif would like to see if there's any way to see past the portcullis to the other side of the gate.
Oh, I'm sure you can see right through. You can clearly stare right at two huge double doors that have ornate carvings of axes on them.
Oh, so there's a portcullis, and then behind that's the doors. Two double doors.
Correct.
Leif Misty steps across.
The dwarves' faces just go agape.
Oh, he still has to get inside the doors.
Hey, Leif, can you open the portcullis?
Yeah, is there like a lever or something?
Y'all are too much. How did he do that?
Just magic. It's relatively basic.
Are the controls on this side of the door or that side of the door?
Daisy, it's okay. They're just the magical beings. I mean, he turned into a woman last night. Why couldn't he phase through a portcullis?
I could face your portcullis while being a woman too.
All right, Jason, Maverick, select yourselves. Where are the controls for the portcullis, do you think?
I'm looking
I
for it.
mean, let me take a look around here.
And as you guys are kind of looking around and getting more of a lay of the land, you do see these arrow slits. Some of them are relatively low to the ground. You know, the slit would start about 15 feet up. Too small for a full-size person, but for someone the size of a dwarf, Norbus is going to walk over to you, Vamir, and say, "Hey, you can give me a boost in here."
No.
Oh, come on.
Gotiruk, mate.
Can someone
Hearing
give
that,
me a boost in here?
I'll pick him up.
To
where he wants to
all right,
be.
All right.
Very aggressive.
Oh. Give him a
Just kind of
wedgie.
sits. It kind of just sits down. I kind of feel like I'm in jail now.
I'll be there in a minute.
I mean, I can get out. It's kind of a waste.
It's just hard to explain. It's easier if I can just go in. I'm a dwarf.
Okay. I don't know why I did this then, but okay. Thank you.
I don't know why you didn't either. I didn't ask. I was just laughing, and all of a sudden you're on the other side of the portcullis. What do you want me to tell you? Silly, weird, changing man. Just give me a minute.
Norbus is going to kind of inch his way in and is going to kind of suck it in. Oh, gosh.
Probably drink less mead.
Show you. Kind of wiggles his way in.
Can I push him to help him through?
Quit touching my foot, elf. Quit touching my foot.
I give him a hard shove.
Look, I was.
You hear a thud.
Right. All right. All right, let me take a look around.
Norbus starts looking around for controls. And he sees a few things inside, and he kind of starts calling out to you.
Well, they were certainly prepared. There's a bunch of ballistas in here. Look like they're in fair condition for being old. Let me see if I can see. Oh, yeah, winch over here. Give me a moment.
Kind of wait for a minute or so. You don't hear anything.
Seems like kind of bad design.
But that it's hard to get in from the outside?
I mean, you just shove a dwarf in there. I mean, I could have just misty stepped into there and just laid on just crawled through.
Didn't think about that, did you?
Well, I didn't see it. Now I'm in here. I'm in jail. I'm being punished for my crimes of being unobservant.
I pick up a pebble off the ground and I chuck it through the portcullis at Leif. You want to play catch?
Okay. Puts his hand out.
Baseline?
I'm gonna pick up my hammer
And the dwarf right
inspect it
next
to
to
make
you,
sure I didn't break
Amir,
it.
who is Dazlin, just looks at you.
Sorry,
What
Norbus?
do you need? What you need?
Norbus.
I'm standing right here.
Norbus? I meant
Oh,
Norbus.
oh, you want Norbus? Norbus, quit fooling about. Norbus,
Something's wrong.
Bloody thing's stuck.
Oh, so we
Gonna give myself a hernia.
do you need some help?
I mean, yeah.
Can Asteria see through the area where Norbus went?
sure. I mean, she can see up in through where the arrow slits are.
Asteria,
Mm,
send Gotiruk in there. Gotiruk, you want to go for a ride?
A ride.
I'm not sure it's going to work. I've never
Are you
actually tried
Would
it.
hurt.
If
Maybe?
you go for a ride into the front of the
Then sure.
wall, yeah.
I mean, she only has to be able to see where you're going.
Go for it.
She's gonna grab Gotiruk by the shoulder and use her phase step ability to send Gotiruk inside,
Next to Norbus.
next to Norbus.
How do I fit in there?
Gotiruk,
magically
Is it
teleport.
enough space?
Gotiruk, as you feel this hand on your shoulder, your body all of a sudden becomes weightless. And it's almost like you see a rush of light and you feel your body moving extremely fast. And it's extremely disorienting. And as soon as you feel this feeling, boom, you are 5 feet in the air on the other side of the wall and you land right on top of one of the ballistas.
Oh!
Right
I
on your
thought you
tuchus.
said it wouldn't hurt.
I said maybe.
Right in the ballistas.
Gotiruk, you okay?
Just give me a minute.
First time teleporting?
I wish I could do that
You just did!
myself
Oh.
to others.
You might
Be
not
much
want
better
to.
than throwing them.
You might end up in jail.
You see
Gotiruk,
Norbus?
as you look around,
Norbus?
you see...
Norbus?
Gotiruk, as you look around,
Nope.
you see
Norbus?
7 of these ballistas, including the one you're sitting
I
on.
need to write down names.
The ceilings are about 15 feet high, smooth stone. You can see there's sconces on the walls, spaces for torches, long since burnt out. With your dark vision, you're fine, but it's certainly dark in these areas. As you're continuing to pan and kind of look around, you kind of make your way over to Norbus. And Norbus is stuck, fiddling with some kind of winch.
I kind
You
of
need help there?
Huh? Oh, look, I'm not even gonna ask. All right, come
Tell
over
him to
here.
leave, tell him to
Pull
leave
this
the winch
winch.
alone and open the portcullis.
He
Listen.
talks a lot.
Yeah, he talks too much. So there's this is how we open this portcullis. All right, it's a bit rusty and old, but I think it still works. Good dwarven make. Just give it a good tug, eh?
I will get a good grip on it and pull with all my might.
Give me a strength check. Do.
Leif would like to cast message in Dwarvish to Norbus.
12.
Say pull.
Gotiruk, as you strain against the winch, it moves just a tiny bit. And Norbus kind of looks at you.
I might. Look, I won't tell anyone. Let me help you.
I'm-
Don't get on one
I'm going to
side.
rage as he
Yeah.
says that and give it another yank before he can even finish his sentence.
Okay.
Get advantage on that. 22.
As he goes to reach for the handle closest to him, your body gives off a rush of heat. And you can feel the energy raise around you, and it makes the hair on his arms stand up on end. And you grab both of the handles again, your muscles starting to ripple and bulge as you seemingly fill out your armor even more. And you start to pull the winch free. You hear the sound of creaking, and you hear a snap as rust breaks free of the winch and it begins to move a bit more freely. And you're continuing to pull up this portcullis very slowly You've raised it about 3 inches at this point, but it's going.
And keep tugging away.
Well, I mean, you didn't have to get all upset about it. I was just trying to give you some help, but I mean, good on you. Good on you. Never really met an orc before. You're strong as hell.
He's just gritting his teeth and pulling.
If you want, I can still. I'll just leave it alone.
And he walks back to go and check out the ballistas.
While it's slowly going up, can Leif kind of look at the door and figure out how to open it?
Sure.
I'm gonna. Oh, go ahead.
No, says Leif, as you walk towards these double doors, kind of south of the portcullis,
Mhm.
you start to smell a stench of old, just really old must and kind of stings your nose as it
Oh,
creeps in there.
That's not jasmine tea.
Definitely not jasmine tea.
Hmm.
You start to sense it within about 10 feet of the door, and as you get closer to it, it gets just a hint stronger. The door itself stands 20 feet high. It's made of smooth stone, etched with multiple dwarven runes and depictions of an axe crossed with another axe.
What do the dwarven runes say?
The dwarven runes say, "Speak, friend, and enter."
Melon.
Leif kind of looks at it for a second, like, can't be that easy, and just speaks the word friend in dwarvish.
Nothing happens.
Oh, thank God it's not that easy. Oh, sorry. Speak friend and enter. Friend and enter instead of dwarvish.
Still nothing happens.
How high up is the portcullis now?
As all this is happening, it's about 6 to 7 inches up. Gotiruk is straining to raise this all by himself. It is insanely heavy, and the winch, despite being free of rust, is still very old and going very slow.
Gotiruk, are you gonna lift this gate today, or are we?
If I could rage again, I could.
I'm getting ready to go have lunch, dude.
He's gritting his teeth, ignoring Ashin and pulling.
Leif just pondering that door. Says in Elvish, friend.
Nothing happens.
That's fair.
Would you like to do an Arcana check?
I would love to do an Arcana check.
See them rolls.
Da, 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 da. What really is an Arcana to a sorcerer? They just inherently know magic. They don't study anything.
What did you get?
That's a 12.
The 12. Okay, so Leif, as you are speaking these words in different languages at the door, you kind of put your hand on it to sense if you can see any magical energy coming off the door. And as you put your hand on it, and you kind of put some weight behind it, it shifts under your weight as you detect no magic.
Like the door starts to shift forward.
Yes. About a half inch.
Leif slowly starts pushing the door open.
I can still see him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stop!
Oh!
Gotiruk's gonna stop.
No, Gotiruk.
Why?
Keep raising the gate.
No, gonna go back to pulling on it.
Gotiruk, give me another strength check.
Oh no.
You're still raged, so it's at advantage.
And Leif, give me a dexterity check.
22.
Dexterity.
Despite you
saves?
stopping, you're able. Dexterity save, yes.
Okay.
Despite you stopping, Gotiruk, you're able to continue moving it. And now it's about a foot.
16.
I'm gonna roll under the portcullis.
It's only a foot.
You think I can't roll under a portcullis?
You're
think
a
you're more than a
standard
foot wide.
humanoid.
Yeah, I can lay down on my stomach and roll under the portcullis.
When it's a foot and a half, I'll give it to you. Not at a foot.
Okay, well I can lay down on my stomach then and crawl through.
I'm still not going to give it to you.
Dun.
There's no way I'm a foot and a half thick, or a foot thick.
With all of your armor and gear, yeah. Stop fighting the DM. Just let it happen. You're wasting time. Leif, you hear
16.
Ashin just in time to kind of take your hand off before you continue to push the door open.
That's too late.
But the smell begins to seep in from under a seam and grows even stronger. And you clearly now are smelling a decaying death.
They've cast prestidigitation around his face.
Smell like what?
Jasmine tea.
Would it be anything else? Why would you even ask?
Oh, I love it. Oh, so good.
By the way, it smells like death in there.
Hmm.
He doesn't really want to move. He's just kind of like...
Well, let's go to her, gets this door open a little bit more. I'm just gonna come under the gate and I'll join you.
Okay.
After a few more minutes, Gotiruk is able to get the portcullis up about 2 feet, and everyone's able to get underneath.
I
Hey,
open the door.
Should we tell Gotiruk to stop cranking?
Muted.
As soon as I see everybody come through, I'm just gonna let go.
You can't actually see when that happens.
Oh, okay.
Only if we can pin it open.
Listen,
I'll just keep going.
Listen, mate.
Oh.
I've been looking around, and you're doing some good work, but you seem to might maybe need a break. Let me help you out.
Norbus comes up, and he takes his kind of a blunt side of his pickaxe, and he smacks this huge lever next to the winch. And it collapses onto teeth of a mechanism.
And he goes, "You're good to let go. Promise."
He'll
Promise.
let go.
And as soon as you let go, you see the teeth and you hear this loud as one of the teeth catches on this mechanism. And after a bit of lurching, some ticking, because there's always ticking with metal, a little bit of rust shaken off, the portcullis stays open.
See, I told you. You did good work. You're really strong. After you.
Breathing pretty heavily, but I'll walk. Try to get back to wherever the party is.
So, in the room that you are both in, there's a staircase leading upward, and then you can continue to see the arrow slits down towards the end of the doors. You actually have the ability to go past the main doors, and there is an arrow slit that looks kind of inward.
I'll take a peek through.
As you look in, you can't see very far. You can see that just past the door, the kind of main defensive area seems to actually extend a bit further past these doors. And across the way, you can see another arrow slit with another ballista coming through. Otherwise, you see kind of a floor that is covered in dust, in debris, and just a large stone column jutting up from across the room. The room, though, you get the sense is enormous. If you had to estimate, probably 40-foot ceilings, and goes on further than you can see with your dark vision.
I'll just keep moving on and try to catch up with the party.
You can't, you're stuck. It is
I'm
a
stuck
dead
in there.
end.
Oh, well. But I can go deeper in behind the main doors, he said.
You can see through there, you can't actually get in. You're looking through an arrow slit behind the doors. Norbus calls out to you. Hey! Come here. He
I'll
beckons
follow
you
him.
further back down. And he shows you that kind of where you had come through, there's a large oak door that seems to have rusted hinges.
Look, I don't want to go upstairs, but there is a door here, and I looked through one of the other arrow slits. There seems to be a hallway of some sort on the other side. We could try going here.
Kind of
What's your take?
push at the door just a tad, see if it moves, see if it's unlocked.
The door appears to be unlocked, but it is rusted through. Can you give me a strength check? You're still raging, so that's fine.
Not
Though.
that I think I'll need another one.
Nope.
That's 20, dirty 20.
As you kind of prod the door a bit, you kind of push on it a few times with your hand. And about the third or fourth time you kind of rock this door with your hand, it kind of see the rust break off the hinges and it lurches towards you a bit. Free.
So through here then?
Yeah, through here. Let's be careful though. I mean, it's a dwarven fortress after all, but I mean, I don't want to be too fooly, you know. There are stories and everything. If you hear anything, let me know. I'll do the same.
And I will push through the door.
As you push through the door, Gotiruk, and kind of walk in again, you see nothing but these 15-foot high, smooth-walled hallway that seems to open up further down into a room. You see bits of armor, and you kind of, at a glance, can see some bones.
Look super closely, make sure there's no danger around. Look for traps or anything.
Give me a perception check.
It's 14.
You don't sense any traps in this hallway.
We'll continue to
Norbus.
move down.
Norbus has kind of walked past you at this point, obsessed with the architecture of this fortress. He's looking around.
Man, look at the craftsmanship of this fortress. I've seen some impressive dwarven masonry before, but this is on a whole other level.
And as he wanders further towards the mouth of that room, he stops cold in his tracks. And you
there a
see him
problem?
get pounced by a ghoul. and we roll for initiative.
Oh.
Have an advantage on that. Not that it did me any good. 16.
Okay.
15 for me.
Just for Gotiruk for now.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're not rolling.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading. My bad.
You're fine. Gotiruk, as you kind of make your way down the hall and see Norbus get tackled by this ghoul, you see that it looks like an emaciated dwarf. It's smaller in stature. It seems to have hair and flesh hanging off one side of its face, glazed over white eyes that just kind of look up at you as it tries to kind of continue to hit. And as you're making your way towards Norbus, another ghoul kind of leapfrogs the ghoul in front and starts running towards you to make an attack. And I need my dice roller. And he goes to bite you. As you see this, again, dwarf-sized ghoul jump towards you, he seemingly falls short. No pun intended. And lands at your feet. And it's your turn.
I'm going to whack at him with my great axe. Using Great Book Master. Ease. It's 10.
You miss.
Extra attack. It's a 14.
That'll hit. I think it's a cock
Takes
die roll
7
again.
damage. Oh, okay.
It looks cocked to me.
Yeah.
Roll it again.
Takes that. It's an 11 damage.
As you bring your axe down, right into this thing's shoulder, you cleave and its arm seems to slide off a little bit as there's now this large gash in part of this ghoul. The other ghoul looks up, seeing that one be attacked, it charges at you and attempts to leap at you as well. That is a 14 to hit. Or excuse
Does
me,
not
a
hit.
16 to hit, excuse me.
That does it.
And it reaches out to you with its claws and it digs into your chest. Gah! And it swipes at you for a total of 7 damage. But you're raging, so that would be, what, 3 damage?
Am I still raging?
Yeah,
It
you're
only
still
lasts
raging.
a minute.
Well, probably not.
Probably
because-
not.
Probably not. You're right. So 7 damage. And then you need to give me a Constitution save.
Oh, over here, not there.
Good.
It was a 19.
You're up again.
Yeah.
I'm going to attack the one that just tried to attack me. I missed that one.
Oof.
Extra attack.
That'll hit.
And for 16 damage.
Nice. As you again take 2 swings at this creature that just rushed you. The first one, it kind of is able to dodge out of the way, and then you quickly come back and slam into its ribcage with your axe, cutting a huge gash, and it's just kind of, its flesh just starts to open up and kind of crumble under its own weight as it's now kind of half slumped over on its side. Ugh. Norbis gets up and runs at the closest ghoul, which was the first one to attack you. And for all his trying, he fails to hit. But he does distract its attention, and it turns its attention on Norbis. And it gets a hit for 7 damage. And then Norbis. Whoo! Makes a saving throw. Go right back to you.
Can I make a perception check to see if I can hear this happening, or?
Sure. It's going to be high. It's going to be DC 18 because it's happening in a room 3 or 4 walls over.
I am utterly baffled how easy it is to get inside a dwarven fortress.
Wow. You
Did I roll well enough to figure out how far away they are exactly?
No, but you did roll well enough to kind of, you start to hear the sound of kind of Gotiruk making like and just real faint sounds of someone fighting.
Gotiruk's fighting somebody.
Oh. Just where?
I'm assuming up there.
It all kind of sounds like echoes, but you could definitely tell it's coming from his direction.
And we haven't pushed past the door yet.
Ashin.
Nope.
Yeah.
Will you come with me?
Of course.
The door's already open.
Bamir puts his hand on Ashin's shoulder. Draws a box in the air that kind of shimmers
Oh, he maybe took Dimension Door.
into existence. Shoves Ashin through it and then goes through himself.
What do you
Well!
do?
Yes, I'll just stay here.
What just happened?
And we appear out at an exactly similar door on the other side of the arrow slits in the hallway beyond the ballista.
So you're saying like in the room that Bamir was before, or excuse me, that Gotiruk and Norbis were before?
Yes, in the room that Gotiruk and Norbis were in before, because that's all I really knew about.
As this door materializes and you walk out, you kind of look around the room and you clearly hear fighting happening. To your right, there is kind of a good number of ballistas down the way. You kind of see kind of a staircase, and as you look straight ahead, there's 2 arrow slits, and through them you can see kind of Norbis with a blade out and these creature that is kind of in the middle of attacking. If you guys want to roll for initiative, I'm going to take your movement into consideration.
We got a 10.
I got a 13.
Okay. Gotiruk, what were you at again?
16.
16? Yeah. And Mir, you got a 10. Ashin, you got a 13?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. I said Gotiruk, it's still your turn, correct?
Yes.
All right, so it's your turn.
I'd like to attack the one that's right in front of me again.
Okay. Roll to hit.
12.
That hits.
And 15 damage.
Gotiruk, as you swing at this creature in front of you, again, this one's the one that's like already half slumped over. You go straight in from the other side, and as its kind of body is overly exposed, you take the opportunity to just cut straight through his rib cage, and his body just goes and goes the other way, and you can hear his spine snap as it falls apart into two pieces and is dead.
I'd like to go to the one that is attacking Norbis and attack him as well. It's 5.
As you kind of stumble over half of the dwarf ghoul in front of you, you kind of slip on some muck and it messes up your axe throw or your axe swing, and you miss. But you got its attention. And it's going to take a swing at you. $18 to hit.
It hits.
It's going to slash out at you with its claws once again, dealing an additional 7 damage, and I need you to make me a Constitution save.
It's 10.
That is exactly the save you needed. Ashin.
I'm gonna look at Bamir and be like, "Hey, can you get everybody else here?"
Nope.
Shit. Okay. And then I'm gonna take off and move, following the sounds of fighting.
You can
Until-
see straight through the
You can
arrow
see
slit
the
right in
arrow
front of
slit.
you.
Oh, so I can see through the arrow slit the combat that's going on?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna cast Hunter's Mark on the enemy that Gotiruk's fighting, and I'm gonna shoot from through the arrow slit.
Ashin, as you look through the arrow slit, you're seeing Gotiruk nearly miss, or just miss, this dwarven ghoul. It's already looking fairly injured. And on the opposite end of the ghoul, you see Norbis kind of with this, blade out, trying to keep it away.
That is...
That'll hit.
Yep, and that's sharpshooter, so so that would be a 19 to hit, so it would still hit.
It hits.
1d8. So 19 plus... First shot does 21 damage.
And that's all you need. Ashin, as you see Gotiruk miss, you take the opportunity to come up quickly, loose an arrow through the slit into the side of the ghoul's head. And its just stuck in this position for a moment as the force kind of pushed it into the stone wall and its body begins to slump against the wall.
You guys need... You guys okay?
Damn things jumped out on us.
These goes any dwarven goes.
We're gonna see if we can make our way to the door.
Yeah, we gotta link up with the rest of the group.
There's a door down at the other end of the hole.
Yeah. Was it towards the front door?
Yeah, go down that way. It's a door.
All right.
Norbus is
Bamir
clearly
goes
shaking.
around to where they are. Look. Norbus. It's Norbus, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Norbus. You need to hold it together, man. We knew this was possible when we went in there. Now, let's get to where the others are, and we'll get through this, okay?
Oh, all right. I've been in fights, but I wasn't. I mean, the story. I mean, if there's undead doors in here, does that mean the banshee's here too?
Quite possibly. But
Probably.
you know what else is here?
Whoa.
The Fist of Phandalin.
I mean,
Hey.
to see what you can do, I do feel a bit better. I need a minute.
You can see a shaky hand reach inside a vest and pulls out a flask and shakily uncorks it. Good. And he kind of offers it to you. And he wants some.
I'm good, thanks.
All right.
Ooh, what do you got there?
He-
Guys, friends, on the door.
Yeah, door. Okay,
Link up.
you're right.
later. Later.
Yeah. Drinking later. Now, let's see if we can get to the rest of our friends.
As you look around this room, you can see there's a small door kind of off the hallway next to you. And the main area you're in feels like a continuation of a hallway where you can see multiple doors around you. This area, in particular, the floor strewn with bits of armor in gnawed bones of these dwarves. You can see a set of double doors to your left that, judging from distance, appear like they might go into the main hallway. Off to your right, again, is another door kind of up ahead around a little bit of a corner. An additional door heading further into kind of that hallway-ish, continuing down the hallway. And another one kind of around the back. As you are looking around the main area around you, Ashin, Norbus, Bamir, and Gotiruk, you begin to hear sounds coming from the doors to your left. And we'll pick up next week.
How about we not go that way?